Okay, so the idea here is that the electric bikes are a little heavy. Even after sliding the battery off, they're still about 40 pounds. And we wanted to make them real easy to put them up really high, one on each door, and simple so that, we weren't, having to expend a lot of upper body strength just to get them up and down on the hooks. So ended up with this cable system and a small, cheap winch motor from Harbor Freight, and now it's about effortless, as you can see. And my wife can do it, and I can do it if I get sick or whatever. And it worked pretty well. So
Yeah.
see there the little latch I made.
And cinch it up.
And so now we can get the bikes down real fast and easy, real quick if we want to just go for a short ride somewhere.
Solid.
And
that way, you can open the door.
Yeah, you can see it's easy access to the door at any time. The door opens. We don't have to move a big, hitch bike rack. So the reason the bike slants is that I wanted the wheel really close to the back door at the bottom, so there's no extra length of the vehicle. But the pedals, of course, would hit if we didn't slant it. So we slanted it, and then, we don't have to take the pedals on and off. So you can see it comes down about the same way in reverse. You have to go up an inch over the bracket and then down. So as far as security goes, we don't really like having the bikes outside, but they're not super expensive bikes. They're under $2,000 bikes, and we just don't have the room inside. We didn't make a high bed. So we put them out there, and the way they're up on cables and stuff, they don't look as stealable. So we're hoping they won't get stolen, and the little lock helps on the down tube, but we would also put a cable around them to visually deter theft, and additionally. And also the seats are on quick release brackets, so we either have to put a cable through the seat or, pull the seats and put them inside the van. And then the panniers, of course, would come off. The only other thing about this is that the brakes are hydraulic, which can be a problem when you put them up, vertical. They can create a little bubble, and you need to bleed the brakes. So I might change the brakes out to mechanical cable pull. They're disc brakes, but for now, the trips we've taken, we just tie the lever tight, like someone's holding the brakes tight, and that seems to work. So far it doesn't create a bubble, so haven't needed to be bled. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a whole bunch of little snapshots of the build process all along the way when we were building this thing, welding it and making the little sticks and parts of it. So there's a whole bunch of them, and they're going to get kind of boring, but I'll try to make it interesting, describe what I'm doing. But you can skip ahead if you aren't interested in actually building anything like this. But if you are, I can tell you that the way to go about this is to use the polyurethane glue, the Loctite Construction Premium 3X construction adhesive. And what you do is you prop up the little sticks, and you set that overnight, and by morning it's a solid frame of a sample of what to make. And then you come in here and see these are bumps where bolts go through these plates, and that way you don't have rust. You just have this slight bump on the outside, and the paint covers everything and keeps it from rusting. These are the pulleys. You saw a minute ago the pulley, the cable goes up in the door. The motor is located low in the back doors. And then the cable goes up and over and out on that long boom right there. And I was trying to make the end of the boom where the pulley had to be as closed as possible so that water wouldn't drive up in there. There it is. And so inside that square tubing is the cable, and it has to come out and turn and go around the pulley. So you put it in when it's finished, and you feed the pulley in, you put the bolt in. But it's an open tube that goes, theoretically into the door. So if you had some freakish rainstorm driving water forward on the van, you could get water theoretically into the van, but I don't think, it's never happened so far. I don't think it'll ever happen because also the boom slants downward. So rainwater, if it should get up in there part way, it's just going to run out, run down and out. So there's the wooden templates that I made in place by propping up the bike with ladders, like you saw, and some duct tape and cut the pieces of wood to be the same size as what they're going to be in the half-inch tubing and the 1-inch tubing on the top. And so that thing was made in place on the back of the van with that goop. It's like poopy stuff. It's thick, viscous consistency. It doesn't drip. And you prop those things up with whatever it takes, duct tape or whatever, and you can put a screw in it or something to hold it a little bit. But the glue is what makes it really strong. And so you come out in the morning and it's rock solid strong, and then you take it over to the bench and make a metal version of it. You prop it up the same angle, and you make a little jig, and then you cut pieces of metal and you weld them together and just basically emulate what the wood thing looked like. And it's pretty strong. So those are the lower ones with the 4 arms. And the whole idea for this was to support the weight of the bike in 3 places: on the back wheel on this thing, and in the middle on those more involved ones with the little latch and the lock that hold on to the down tube on the bike. And then the other third of the weight of the bike would be is held by the winch hook itself. So after you get it in place, you just tap the winch motor and it cinches it up, lifts up on another half-inch of lift or whatever, and supports a third of the weight there too. And we, sure enough, have not had any problems. We've hit the biggest chuck holes, and the next time I stopped, I looked for, any signs of bending or warping or welds cracking or anything, and no problems at all yet. So even though a 40-pound bike hitting a big chuck hole can be, they say, like a couple hundred pounds of force going downward, but it's been successfully able to hold the weight and not be a problem. So anyway, that's the genesis of it and how how it went down, and we've enjoyed it now for about 1.5 years. We've taken trips, even though the van isn't done, and we've taken the bikes all the way to Casper, Wyoming for the eclipse, and we're down in near Phoenix. So we've driven a lot of places all over the state for little short trips where we just use camping gear. And so when the van gets done, we'll go even further and test out these electric bike racks for electric bikes. Thanks.